this video for the class 6 subject science chapter number 9, that is the living organism characteristics and habitats. This is your lecture number 2nd. So in today's video, the topics to be covered are, we are going to cover the topic. So the first topic is the adaptation in aquatic habitat, in freshwater habitat and in the coastal habitat. Next, about the characteristics of the living organisms. So let us begin this lecture with the first topic, that is aquatic habitat. In aquatic habitat, the marine habitat comprises of oceans, seas and both have the salt water. They are home to a wide variety of creatures, like most of the fish population is found here. Next is the marine creatures are found in estuaries where the river and oceans meet and the water is salty. The marine mammals like whales migrate to long distance in order to cope up that temperature changes. There are the several aquatic plants and the aquatic animals which adapt in their aquatic habitat. Firstly, if we talk about the different plants, so the root of the aquatic plants are either absent or very poorly developed, because water is easily available to them. Okay. Next is about the in ocean. So the most organisms have the streamlined bodies and animals have the gills. These are the adaptations in ocean. The octopus do not have the streamlined body, so they stay deep in the ocean, but when moving they make a streamlined motion. When they present deep in the ocean, they do not have the streamlined body, but when they are moving they have the streamlined motion. They make the streamline. Then whales have blowholes instead of the gills, and this enables them to breathe easily when they swim near the surface of the water. For example, mammals like the dolphin and the whales, they do not have the gills to breathe in water, so they have lungs. So they breathe through the blowholes present on the upper part of their head. So these animals come to the water surface from time to time to engulf that oxygen from the air, okay, or to breathe that oxygen from the air. Next is about the freshwater habitat. Here the rivers, lakes, ponds, etc. comprises the freshwater habitats, and the 3% of the world water is accounted as a fresh water, but still a wide variety of species are found here. So the snails, worms, mollusks, etc. are found in this freshwater habitat. In the ponds and the lakes, the plants like the water plants can be completely submerged in water like the hydrilla, or the floating on the surface of the water like a water lily, lotus and water hyacinth. Okay, these are the plant stems. Here the roots of the aquatic plants are either absent or the very poorly developed. So because of the water is easily available to them, so the leaves are covered with the wax to avoid the decay due to the long exposure to the water. Okay, the plant like water hyacinth, lotus, water lily, they float on the water because they are categorized further as the emergent plant. Their roots are fixed, but leaves and stem extended out of the water, so they easily float on the surface of the water. Next is the adaptation in the plants is, the totally submerged plant have the narrow and ribbon like leaves, for example in the tape grass. So this can bend in the flowing water. Their leaves are large and circular to help the plant to float easily on the water. Okay. Next is about the stems. The adaptation in the stems in aquatic plants. The stem of the aquatic plants have the air spaces to enable the plant to easily float on the surface of water. The floating plants are large and flat, and they have the waxy upper surface that makes them waterproof. On the leaves or on the stem they have the waxy upper surface, so they can make them waterproof. They have the stomata on the upper surface which are exposed to air, and the stomata help in the exchange of gases. Okay, stomata are present on the upper surface of leaves, while it is on the lower surface in the terrestrial plant. On terrestrial plant, the stomata present on the lower surface, but in the aquatic plant, the stomata is present on the upper surface. Okay. Next is about the adaptation in aquatic animal in frog. Frog are adapted to live both on the land and water. They have the strong back, leg, and the webbed feet which allow them to swim in water by easily. Next is in the coastal habitat. First one is the aquatic habitat, second the freshwater habitat, and third one is the coastal habitat. The coastal habitat where the land meets the sea area, that is coastal habitat. Beaches, a special type of the tree called the mangroves, are found in this habitat. Coastal plants like a seaweed attached to the rocks firmly, so they are not swayed by the waves. The coastal plants like the seaweed plants, they is attached to the rocks because they are not easily swayed by the waves. That's why they attach to the rocks. Next is about the acclimatization. Due to the certain changes in the surrounding, organisms adapt through them by the making small changes in their body over a short period of time. That is acclimatization. Or we can say that the acclimatization is the adjustment done by an organism when the temporary changes occur in their normal habitat. Okay, it's simple. The organism adjusts to a gradual change in its environment like a temperature or a humidity. So these changes are the temporary, and these adjustments reverse when the normal condition returns back. For example, the change which takes place in the body when we travel from plains to mountain. Okay, and this adjustment which the body makes is called acclimatization. Okay, the change which takes place in the body when we travel from plains to mountain, and this adjustment body make is called acclimatization. Okay. Next is about the characteristics of the living organisms. First is question: do all living things need food? So yes, they require food to grow and carry out their life processes. So in chapter 1st and 2nd, we already learned that all the living things need food. Okay, because for example, the plant make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So animals depend on the plant or other animals for their food, because this food gives organism the energy needed for them to growth. So organism also need energy for the other life processes. Okay, that's why living things need food to growth and carry out their own life processes. Next is, do all living things shows growth? Yes, they grow in size. For example, your kurta had 4-year back that you are wearing, it's still fitting you, so you cannot wear it anymore now. So you must have grown taller during these years, so you may not realize it now, but you are growing all the time, and if in few more years you will become an adult. Okay, so plant also grow, animal also grow. So look around you and see a few plants of the particular type. Some are very small, some are very big, young. So they may be all in a different stage of a growth. So growth seems to be a common to all the living beings. Okay, next is about Do all living things respire? Yes, all living thing or the all living organism breathe and respire. So breathing is to intaking of the oxygen and exhaling the carbon dioxide, that is breathing. Okay, and respiration is the breaking down of the food to obtaining that energy is respiration. Okay, breathing is a part of a process called the respiration. Respiration, some of the oxygen of air we breathe in and use that by the body. Okay, so in the same way the process of the breathing in the animal or in a cow, buffalo, dogs, that is similar to human beings. Okay, same. So in some animals may have the different mechanism for the exchange of gases, which is a part of the respiration process. For example, in different organism or in different animal like earthworm, it's breathe through their skin. Fishes, they breathe by their gills because the gills absorb the oxygen from the air dissolved in water. Next is about, do all living things respond to stimuli? So the answer is yes, they respond to stimuli. So here stimuli is change in the environment or the change in our surrounding that make us to respond, that are called stimuli. Next is, do all living things reproduce their own kind? So yes, they carry out the reproduction. Reproduction means producing the next generation, and they carry out the excretion process also, that is elimination of waste from the body. Here animals reproduce their own kind. Okay, you have seen many birds lay their egg in the nest. So some of the egg hatches and young birds come out from them. So this is the reproduce their own kind. In same way animals reproduce their own kind, that the mode of reproduction may be different, but animals produce their young ones through eggs, and some animals give birth to young ones. Okay, and in the same way in the plant also reproduce like animals. Plants also different in their mode of reproduction. Many plants reproduce through the seeds, many plants produce seeds. So it's depend on their reproduction type. Okay, next is about the excretion. Excretion is the process of getting rid of the waste of organisms, is known as excretion, or elimination of waste from the body is excretion. Okay, next is, do all living organisms move? Yes, movement is shown by the living organisms. In chapter 8 you had already seen that about the animal movement. They move from one place to the another place and show the other body movements. Okay, next is about the homework solution of lecture number 1. So the first question is, which of the following change cannot be called a habitat? So a desert with camel, a pond with fishes, a jungle with wild animals, and cultivated land with grazing cattle. So the answer of this question is cultivated land with grazing cattle is not a habitat. Okay, question number 2 was the biotic component and the abiotic component. Biotic component are those there the living component of the ecosystem is there, for example flora and fauna. In abiotic component, the non-living component of the ecosystems like the soil, water, air is present or called as abiotic component. Okay, in picture you can see the living thing or the biotic component, plants, animal, bacteria, fungi, protists, these are the biotic component. In this picture the abiotic component are like water, soil, air, minerals, light, these are the abiotic component. Okay, next is the homework of this lecture. So the first question is, why do the desert snakes burrow deep into the sand during the day? Question number second is, why is the reproduction important for all the organisms? Third one is, fill in the blanks. First question is, saline water, hot air and sand are the component of which habitat? The habitat of a plants and animal that live on that particular area is called as the aquatic habitat. Dash enables a plant or an animals to live in its surrounding, known as. Fourth one is, the plant and animal that live on the land are said to live which habitat? Okay, so you have to fill in the blanks. And yeah, this is it about this lecture. Hope you have understood this lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.